Captain Nara Voss eased the throttle on Zephyr's song, her trusty freighter slicing through the glittering void near a derelict star platform. The silence of space was shattered suddenly. A streak of cobalt light slammed in her hull with a bone-jarring impact. Alarm screamed as the breech door crumpled inward like thin metal paper, sending shards and zero-G debris tumbling into the fractured corridor behind her. Through the swirling mist, Nara caught sight of a lithe, alien woman clad in fractured exo-armor, her movements fluid and practiced. Without hesitation, the stranger scrambled toward the NAV console, ripping a glowing data crystal from its slot, the Sovereign's highest-level launch codes glowing with cryptic neon etchings. Nara's grip tightened around her plasma sidearm, voice sharp and desperate. "Stop! Those are the Sovereign's launch codes." The thief turned, lips curling into a smirk, voice low and amused. "Then you'll never catch me." With a breathtaking flip, she vaulted off the console and plunged into the void, trailing shimmering strands of stolen code, like comet tails blazing through the star-strewn black. Nara's pulse thundered in her ears as she slammed the emergency seal button, sealing the breach just moments too late. "I don't even have her manifest," she muttered, breath catching with the weight of realization. This chase would stretch across star systems, and the fate of millions balanced precariously on her ability to recover what was stolen. Platform Omega 12, once a vital hub in the Federation's logistical network, now drifted in jagged orbit, a skeletal monument to past conflicts. Torn solar sails fluttered listlessly, broadcast arrays darkened and silent. Rusted supply pods hung like ghostly fish carcasses, while gaping hull breaches exposed tangled conduits, sparking intermittently. The platform's zero-G debris fields shifted unpredictably, an invisible minefield that had claimed dozens of freighters before Zephyr's song dared approach. The scars of the Venus uprising lingered here, history etched in battered metal and forgotten sacrifice. The NAV console's Crystal Bay had once secured the Sovereign's highest-level launch codes, quantum-entangled crystals enabling instantaneous authorization across the galactic armada. Now, the slot glowed faintly, scarred by violent prime marks and electrical arcs, betraying the violent theft. Residual energy danced across exposed circuitry, flickering with unstable pulses. Without this crystal, the Armada's fleets lay dormant, their power chained to a fragile shard stolen by a shadow. Plasma sidearm scorch marks hissed softly along the deck, proof of a fierce fight past automated defenses. Surveillance logs captured only nanoseconds of cobalt light, a signature trademark of the elusive Vesper Syndicate, whispered to harbor X-Federation Special Ops. Every sensor now flagged unauthorized humanoid within the platform's H-zone parameters, but the thief remained a ghost in the system, faster and more lethal than any patrol. The chase had become a deadly game of cat and mouse in the void. The breech door's mangled frame hung precariously on fractured hinges, groaning under the strain of decompression. Erratic power conduits sparked showers of blue-white arcs, blinding nearby sensors. A ruptured ammonia tank hissed a toxic vapor, fogging the corridor in a sickly haze. Gravity compensators failed intermittently, tossing sections between crushing force and zero-G weightlessness. Each step a precarious gamble. One misstep could mean drifting into the void or falling beneath crushing pressure, turning rescue into a desperate last act. Red alert banners blared across every comm panel aboard Zephyr's song. Code breach, recover launch crystal. Automated distress, drones rotated in precise patrol arcs, their sensors sweeping relentlessly. Sirens shattered the ship's eerie calm, overlaying Captain Voss's bridge with flashing priority directives. Every megadata node pulsed with urgency, the stolen crystal's code flag marking a fleet lockdown on the verge. Failure to retrieve the launch codes meant orbital bombardments would proceed unchecked, turning entire star systems into ashes. In the mess hall-turned-briefing room, crew faces reflected the crisis's weight, eyes hollowed by doubt, grips tightening nervously on weapon handles and utility belts. Murmurs of blame and fear rippled like static. "We're sitting ducks without those codes," muttered the first officer, voice low and tense. Engineers fretted over dead thrusters. Gunners methodically cleaned weapons with grim purpose. Even Captain Voss's trusted crew questioned their unyielding mission. The fractured morale, a dangerous fracture in their last line of defense. Beyond the wreck's perimeter, the swirling nebula Theta 9 beckoned with ominous black spirals veined in electric blue, an uncharted sensor interference zone rumored to harbor ruthless remnant raiders. This eerie void offered no sanctuary, only unknown peril. Yet, with no choice, Nara prepared to plunge into its depths. The path before her was an uncertain crucible, a trial by void where only the sharpest wits and fastest reflexes could ensure survival and reclaim the stolen codes critical to the fate of millions. In the vacuum-dark corridor, Captain Nara Voss wrestled the Zephyr Song's makeshift tractor beam into position, the amber tether spiraling through zero-G and wrapping itself around the alien woman's fractured exo-armor. Sparks danced like fireflies as she hauled the stranger slowly toward her airlock, every second weighted by the vacuum's deadly pull. With gloved fingers steadying the glowing data crystal, Nara yanked the breech door shut with a hiss, sealing the void behind them. Extending a steady hand, she murmured, "I'll keep you alive, then we talk payment." The alien's silver eyes narrowed beneath the fractured helmet as she snapped the crystal into Nara's palm and hissed, "Free me from vacuum, then we talk ransom." In that suspended heartbeat, a tenuous alliance sparked, born of necessity, balanced on trust forged in fire. As recycled air flooded the corridor, Nara wasted no time sealing the jagged hull breach with emergency gel, foam expanding swiftly with a soft hiss to form an airtight bond. The stranger, her cobalt-streaked armor smeared with expanding foam, watched silently, curiosity softening her once imperious stance. Fissures in the armor's plating revealed flashes of bare skin beneath, hinting at vulnerability beneath the lithe warrior's practiced exterior. Nara met her gaze steadily, voice calm but firm, holes patched. "You owe me more than just those codes." For the first time, the alien's lips twitched in a hesitant smile, a silent nod acknowledging the fragile truce forming between two desperate souls navigating a fractured ship and an even more fractured fate. With the airlock sealed and alarms fading into background hums, Nara leaned back against the cold bulkhead, holstering her plasma sidearm with a wry smile. "You know, nothing survives that kind of drift without air," she said, voice dry yet warm. "Apparently, neither do I." The alien's silver eyes flickered with amusement, the metallic toes of her armor tapping lightly on the grated floor. A low, melodic trill of laughter echoed softly through the corridor, fracturing the tension like shards of starlight. Amid the high stakes, the stolen Federation codes, the threat of orbital bombardment, their banter carved a slender bridge of shared humanity. Nara's smirk faltered momentarily, realizing the stranger was no mere thief but a survivor as scarred and stubborn as herself. Side by side, they stood as the last hiss of recycled air faded into a stillness that wrapped around them like a fragile cloak. The stranger's silver eyes tracked the faint shimmer of distant stars through the viewport, her gratitude flickering alongside a shadow of fear. Nara's gaze roved across the breach's jagged edges, noting the subtle tremor in the alien's posture, the unspoken weight of lives balanced on this fragile moment. Neither spoke, but in the shared quiet hung a pact deeper than words. Two fugitives clasping hope in hands worn by survival and defiance. The ambient hum of Zephyr's song's life support underscored their solidarity, a whispered promise that each would guard the other until the stolen codes were safely reclaimed. Nara tore open her last ration pack, a compact cluster of nutrient gel and protein tabs, offering half without hesitation. The alien accepted the meager meal with a soft murmur, eyes glinting with surprise and cautious gratitude. "You're not giving up the codes?" she asked, voice low but edged with suspicion. Nara shook her head, voice steady. Not until I know your story. Each shared bite bridged their distance, turning cold necessity into fragile trust. As they ate under the dim glow of emergency lights, Nara sensed the stranger's barriers begin to crack, revealing a flicker of something unguarded beneath the warrior's hardened exterior. In the lawless void of space, compassion had become their most potent weapon. The sharp chirp of the comm scanner shattered the quiet, the telltale ping of a council interceptor closing fast. Reflex took over. Nara whipped out her plasma sidearm, crouching back-to-back with the alien thief. The stranger snapped her own pistol free, silver fingers steady as they aimed down the corridor's narrow length. In that instant, their partnership crystallized, not captor and captive, but allies bound by survival and shared fire. Nara whispered, voice low and fierce, let's give them a fight they won't forget. The stranger's eyes gleamed, a fierce nod the only answer needed. Together, they prepared to carve their escape through the incoming storm, two desperate fighters entwined by fate's merciless hand. The Zephyr's song shuddered under interceptor fire, vibrations rattling bulkheads and shuddering conduits. Nara and her newfound ally sprinted toward the cargo hatch, the stolen crystal pulsing like a beacon nestled within the stranger's pack. Nara shouted over the din, determination blazing in her eyes. We bring back those codes together. The alien's silver gaze locked with hers, steely and unwavering. Together. Footfalls pounded against metal plating, weapons drawn and hearts aligned. In that crucible of fire and desperation, trust was no longer fragile. It was their lifeline. More than captain and thief, they had become co-guardians of a fragile destiny, united by the narrow thread of mutual hope that could save millions or doom them all. Deep within the dim glow of Zephyr's song's secure comm core, Lyra Kale carefully docked the stolen data crystal into the encrypted port. Hollow archives bloomed to life, streams of classified transmissions, heavily redacted council minutes, and pixelated dossiers exposing atrocities long buried. Forced labor camps on Vesta, secret quarantine massacres on Ishtar, entire populations erased under fabricated orders flickered in ghostly light. Lyra's slender fingers traced each file with reverence and fury, exposing the raw skeleton of systemic betrayal. Nara stood behind her, jaw clenched as realization dawned. This stranger was not a mere thief, but a bearer of suppressed truth. The crystal was a weapon, not just for war, but for unveiling lies that bound galaxies in chains. Leaning closer, Lyra's voice dropped to a confidential whisper. I'm Lyra Kale, a rebel archivist. The Holokin's soul pulsed, revealing her face and credentials. Once a historian embedded deep within the Council's inner sanctum, now a fugitive insurgent. She described how, with painstaking stealth, she infiltrated the Council's inner vaults, siphoning damning evidence of High Regent Malvain's treacherous coup. Nara's eyes scanned the biometric logs that tied every data heist to Lyra's unique genetic signature. The theft of launch codes transformed before them. No longer a mere burglary, but the linchpin of a rebellion. Skepticism melted into reluctant alliance as truth eclipsed suspicion. Hollow visions flickered across the core's walls. Regent Malvain seated in shadowed command chambers, orchestrating orbital bombardments against free worlds masked as smuggler strikes. Planets burned in agonized silence. Refugee fleets scattered like ghosts, while Malvain's cold smile played across tactical readouts. Each image carved a deeper wound in Nara's conscience. Her spice runs, unknowingly funding this cruelty. Lyra's voice narrated, steady but heavy. They manufacture threats to tighten their grip. The weight of silent screams reverberated through Zephyr's song, binding Nara and Lyra with shared horror and a burning vow to never again be pawns in a tyrant's game. Delving deeper, Lyra accessed the crystal's buried firmware, revealing a hidden kill switch for the Regent's warships, an override keyed exclusively to her biometrics. With but a touch, she could cripple Malvane's fleet overnight, silencing the instruments of oppression. Nara's mind raced with the implications. Power that could birth freedom or unleash genocide. Lyra's gauntlet glowed softly as she detailed the fail-safes. No one but her unique genetic imprint could activate the sequence. The crystal hummed in Nara's palm, a living conduit of destiny. In this charged moment, they grasped the universe's fragile balance. Salvation and destruction intertwined in a single keystroke. Nara's chest tightened, breath catching as she confessed softly, "All this time, I thought I was just hauling spice." The cargo she transported had unknowingly fueled a web of tyranny. Lyra's voice softened, laden with quiet defiance. "We haul truth." Their eyes locked in a moment of mutual reckoning. The cold corridor lights seemed to warm around them as resolve crystallized. Nara was no longer a pawn, but a catalyst, ready to wield her fate. Lyra nodded solemnly, gratitude and fierce determination swirling in her silver eyes. Together, they stepped from survival into rebellion, forging a partnership bound by justice. Scrolling holotexts bloomed with ominous directives. Engage coup d'etat. Activate purge sequence. Lyra's fingers hovered, tension threading through her slender form. This was the Council's plan for planetary subjugation, a digital stranglehold on countless lives. With a shudder, she declared, "I can't let this stand." Nara's steady hand gripped hers firmly. "Then we stop it." Together, they deleted the embedded kill sequence nodes and injected a liberating countercommand. Codes destined for rebel uprisings across dozens of worlds. Each keystroke echoed like a battle cry, slicing through silence to rewrite the galaxy's fate in defiant pulses of light. Suddenly, an ear-splitting alarm shrieked as Zephyr's external sensors flared. Council drones decloaked, sleek interceptors weaving expertly through floating debris. Red, targeting reticles bloomed menacingly on the viewport, locking onto the ship with ruthless precision. Nara slammed the console offline, voice sharp. "They're boarding. Prepare for combat." Lyra's eyes flashed steel as she holstered the crystal, drawing her own weapon with practiced speed. Outside, the void pulsed with the thunder of approaching thrusters. Their secret laid bare. Every second became a crucible forging unbreakable resolve to survive and to bring Malvane's atrocities into the light of justice. Lyra flooded Nara's HUD with encrypted council comm logs, decoded messages, sleeper cell coordinates, and covert planetary status reports. Worlds long branded loyal now blazed with quiet rebellion. Names like Eden's Gate, Casa Nova, Orion's Reach flickered across the display, each a spark lighting the flames of insurgency. Nara's bridge crew scrambled to archive the overwhelming data surge, all turning to fevered hope. The torrent was chaotic but alive, a digital river flowing with the promise of redemption. Within these streams of truth, countless oppressed voices found their catalyst, their light amid darkness, fueled by one archivist's courage. The stolen crystal's runes blazed fiercely, spelling out, "Archivist." Lyra straightened, shoulders squared beneath the corridor's stark lights. This codename was no mere label. It was a mantle, a legacy. Keeper of truths, harbinger of revolution. Nara echoed the word reverently, "Archivist." The weight of that title settled between them like a shield and sword combined. No longer fugitive or thief, Lyra stood reborn, a galvanizing force igniting hope across fractured stars. In that naming, purpose crystallized, identity reshaped. Together, Captain and Archivist prepared to write a new chapter, one of courage, defiance, and the reclaiming of light. Nara's hand found Lyra's gauntlet shoulder, firm and steady. "Then let's resurrect the light," she vowed, voice unwavering. Lyra's eyes shimmered with fierce hope and quiet defiance. The stolen launch codes and kill switch now served as keys to dismantle a tyrant's reign. In that silent pact, they sealed their fates, not by contract but conviction. Silhouetted against the comm core's glow, their shadows stretched like banners of rebellion. Together, they would illuminate the darkness, consuming the stars. United, they stood as beacons for the oppressed, a promise encoded in courage and blood, destined to ignite a revolution. Lyra hurried to Zephyr's Song's engineering console, overriding launch safeguards with practiced urgency. Thrusters flared as the freighter executed a blind hyperspace jump, code strands streaming behind them like comet tails. Council corvettes blazed in pursuit, weapons blazing, but the ship surged forward into the void's shifting currents. Nara shouted over the roar, "Hold on!" Lyra's silver eyes reflected the swirling colors of hyperspace, fierce with determination. In that leap, they traded one prison for another, uncertain freedom. Yet as stars blurred into streaks, their cause burned brighter. A rebellion carried on coated wings, racing to reclaim justice. In the kaleidoscopic swirl of hyperspace, Zephyr's Song hurtled onward. The stolen crystals glow, a steadfast beacon amid the rushing stars. Side by side in the cockpit's glow, Nara and Lyra exchanged a charged glance, promises unspoken but understood. The stars stretched into radiant streams as their shared mission ignited. Recover the codes, spark revolts, and topple the Regent's tyranny. In the vast silence of the void, truth and rebellion traveled faster than any warship. Two fugitives blazing a path through darkness, bound by trust and a revolution's flame, poised to rewrite the fate of galaxies. Drifting silently through the endless void, Zephyr's Song hums as Nara taps into the regimental comm beacons. Suddenly, her viewport fills with flickering propaganda holos, archivist code leak, civilian deaths in rebellions. Grainy footage churns, smoke curling from orphan settlements, shattered homes ablaze, casualty tallies rising with each replay. The voiceover condemns Lyra's revelations, casting her as the architect of chaos, demanding swift justice. Nara's jaw tightens as each loop deepens the gut-wrenching toll. The same truths that sparked hope now weaponized to fracture the fragile alliance. Through this digital onslaught, Lyra's heroism warps into villainy, and every star map on Nara's console fractures with doubt, echoing the cost of unmasking hidden wars. In the dim glow of the ship's aft bulkhead, Lyra collapses, knees buckling beneath her. Her breath shudders as she whispers, "I unleashed war, not peace." Tears mist her visor, tracing fragile rivulets on cold glass. Flashes of devastated settlements haunt her, the innocent caught in uprisings she ignited. She pressed send on the archives with unyielding hope, yet the weight of lives lost crashes down, heavy and unforgiving. Around her, the muted hum of Zephyr contrasts with her sobs, walls echoing the archivist's grief. The once unbreakable insurgent now lays bare, confronting the grim calculus where truth demands sacrifice and liberation comes dressed in ashes. Nara steps closer, voice steady but heavy with sorrow. "Your truth killed people." She pauses, eyes locked on Lyra's trembling hands. Then softer, almost a vow, "But lies kill worlds." Her words hang in the recycled air between them. Memories flood, forgotten planets erased by cover-ups, histories rewritten in silence. Nara sees reflected in Lyra's eyes the same fierce fire that fuels her command. The captain's resolve wavers, torn between the cost of revelation and the peril of concealment. Their gaze binds them, two warriors bearing the moral paradox of rebellion, each understanding the bitter necessity that truth sometimes demands blood. A heavy silence descends as Zephyr's Song drifts through star-streaked void, the hum of engines filling the unspoken gulf. No alarms pierce the quiet, yet the space between Nara and Lyra chills like the frozen nebulae beyond the viewport. The crystal's soft pulse dims in Lyra's grasp. Nara's fingers hover hesitantly over controls. Their partnership, once sealed in fire and flight, now strains under the invisible weight of doubt and loss. Within this silent expanse, both wonder if their fragile trust can survive the reckoning, or if the gulf carved by truth's cost will swallow them whole. Lyra's hand trembles, extending the glowing crystal toward Nara with a weary surrender. Erase it. Let me disappear. Her voice is hollow, as if relinquishing not only a weapon, but her very purpose. Nara's chest tightens. The flick of a switch could snuff the rebellion's flame, consigning countless worlds back to shadow. Lyra's eyes plead for absolution through erasure, the crystal's pulse faltering as if craving release from its burden. This fragile offering reveals a soul on the brink, testing whether Nara's conviction can rekindle faith in their cause and withstand the crushing weight of sacrifice. Crossing the narrow bridge, Nara cups Lyra's hand, encasing it around the crystal's warm glow. We face this together, or I face it alone. Her voice is unwavering, a beacon amid the cockpit's dim light. The crystal pulses brighter, affirming their renewed bond as relief floods Lyra's gaze. The weight of guilt shifts into shared resolve, transforming the crystal from weapon to covenant. As Zephyr surges toward an uncertain future, the void outside shrinks. No longer a desolate expanse, but the crucible in which their trust and revolution are forged. Beneath the towering spires of Kovas's iron citadel, a mosaic of rebel delegates converges, marking a historic gathering. Starliners emblazoned with coalition sigils punctuate the dusky skyline. Disgorging miners wearing patchwork uniforms alongside botanists rescued from quarantine camps and strategists bearing ancient tribal markings. Hollow projectors hum to life, casting flickering symbols and maps onto improvised tables where engineers and healers exchange plans and provisions. Despite decades of fractured resistance, this gathering pulses with fragile hope, a living testament to Lyra's leak transforming scattered whispers into a coherent movement. Muted trumpets sound, their notes reverberating through the cavernous halls, while Kovas's core reactor hums steadily, as if approving this fragile alliance born for shared risk and the longing for liberation. Across the terraced plazas of Kovas, defiance burns bright under a veil of twilight. Flames flicker from torchlit stairways, illuminating banners emblazoned with Lyra's determined visage alongside Nara's freighter crest. The words "freedom through truth" ripple in 10 dialects, carried on the voices of thousands swelling the amphitheater. Market stalls repurpose into literature booths, distributing archived logs, manifestos, and encrypted communiques. Children wave lanterns with glowing bioleum wicks, their coated flames spelling out "liberate" against cold moonlit walls. Each chant, each cry of rebellion, echoes centuries of suppressed histories now reclaimed. In this raw collective catharsis, rage and hope entwine, forging the archivist's beacon into more than mere data. It becomes the living soul of a people's uprising. Above Kovas's orbit, a solemn procession unfolds as hundreds of freighters, once clandestine couriers, arrive like pilgrims to a sacred shrine. Each vessel beams live holostreams, unredacted archives of council atrocities, blueprints for liberation protocols, and Lyra's stirring calls to action. Data pulses sync in a radiant halo encircling the moon's orbital station, transforming it into a beacon of truth. Mining rigs flicker their uplinks in response, joining a vast network prayer of shared information. Below, Nara stands at the viewport, absorbing the sight of this luminous digital congregation. This is the archivist's true ascension, from shadowy insurgent to guiding light, illuminating the oppressed corners of the galaxy with a data-driven dawn. On Zephyr's song's deck, Lyra steps forward, her silver eyes reflecting the firelight of a restless crowd. The plaza hushes as she raises her voice clear and steady. "I stand for truth, not tyranny." Her declaration ripples through the masses like a clarion call, igniting a fervor that quells lingering doubt. Survivors clutch data tablets. Seasoned rebels shed silent tears. Nara joins her side, grasping Lyra's hand, a symbol of unity transcending past mistrust. Together, They transform the plaza's tentative whispers into an anthem. Archivist and Captain. Their shared presence, human and alien intertwined, becomes the uprising's beating heart, proving that courage paired with conviction can rewrite even the oldest, most oppressive edicts. Adorning a sweeping rampart bordering the rally grounds, artists and volunteers labor under floodlights, painting a living testament. Lyra's silhouette stands tall beside the sleek outline of Zephyr's song, rendered in glowing bioleum pigments mixed with solar dust, granting the mural a shimmering vitality. Below the figures, a banner proclaims, "We reclaimed our stories." Passers-by leave personal marks, handprints, coded runes, names of fallen comrades, transforming the wall into a communal archive of memory and defiance. By dawn, the mural radiates with bioleum light, visible even from orbit, guiding incoming rebel ships. It becomes more than art. It is a beacon of remembrance and renewal, embodying a people's enduring spirit etched in light and color. As the first light spills over Covis, Nara kneels upon the amphitheater dais, Lyra standing steadfast at her side. Addressing the gathered multitude, Nara's voice rings out. "We reclaimed our stories. Now we reclaim our future." The crowd rises in unison, voices swelling in a rolling chorus that reverberates through stone pillars and rootwood beams. Delegates from former council ministers to outlaw engineers raise hands, swearing allegiance beneath the bioleum sky. A stolen crystal passes from hand to hand, a tangible symbol of collective stewardship and vigilance. Each touch renews the bond, anchoring the coalition's purpose in ritual and resolve. This act crystallizes the archivist's beacon as a living covenant, a shared commitment to freedom, truth, and a sacred duty to guard the fragile flame of liberty. Back aboard Zephyr's song, Nara and Lyra activate the liberation protocols encoded within the crystal. Across Covis's planetary shields, waves of pulsing code ripple outward, rewriting defense grids once programmed to suppress and as safeguards for the people. Emerald light washes the planet, casting a radiant halo visible from orbit. Rebel skiffs glide safely into ports, while automated supply drones hum through liberated settlements, distributing aid and hope. From the bridge viewport, Lyra watches the synchronized heartbeat of Covis respond to their signal, a defiant pulse in the cosmic dark. This beacon, born of stolen codes and steadfast courage, stands as proof that a single act of rebellion can ripple through stars, transforming oppression into enduring light. The Rebel Armada, an eclectic fleet of veteran frigates and retrofitted civilian cruisers, descends upon the Council flagship Imperium Ascendant like a storm of righteous fury. The Citadel's imposing hangar shields flicker under synchronized volleys of plasma torpedoes and disruptor pulses. Boarding pods detach from assault carriers, hurtling through vacuum corridors toward the flagship's vulnerable plasma vents and maintenance hatches. Over encrypted comm channels, Lyra's comm voice guides rebel fighters with precision born of intimate schematics stolen from Council archives. Explosions ripple through sealed bulkheads as coordinated charges detonate, isolating loyalist reinforcements. Rebel Marines flood the grand atrium, their banners unfurled in defiance, while the marble walls reverberate under their assault, transforming the once untouchable seat of tyranny into a battlefield for liberation. Within the Citadel's shadowed core terminal, Lyra's hands move swiftly, biolocking the kill switch codes to her unique genetic signature. The ship convulses as reactor conduits spark with violet arcs, cascading energy in chaotic brilliance. Fortress turrets grind to a halt. Control nodes implode under cascading code, one by one severing command links. Shield arrays collapse inward, lifelines severed as life support systems enter lockdown protocols. Rebel engineers cheer as Imperium Ascendant's capital cruisers erupt in controlled implosions, hulls torn from within. Lyra's stolen crystal pulses with radiant power, a symbol and catalyst, demonstrating that the Empire's core is vulnerable when truth becomes weaponized. The weight of years of oppression crumbles with every disabled system, signaling not just defeat, but the dawn of revolution. Corridors carved from gleaming marble bear the etched crests of a corrupt council as Captain Naravas leads her squad through firefights of ruthless precision. Plasma sidearms flare in rhythmic bursts, echoing off polished walls as she calls out comm commands. For every lie they told, her voice is steady, rallying warriors trained in guerrilla tactics honed aboard Zephyr's song. The marble floors, slick with coolant and scorched circuitry, offer no refuge to the Council's guards, whose panicked defenses falter under the rebels' disciplined advance. Each cleared hallway, each breach carved with surgical efficiency, brings the insurgents closer to the throne room, where tyranny's heart awaits its reckoning. Nara's presence, equal parts commander and avenger, instills a resolute cadence that beats louder than any warship's cannon. The vaulted throne room's imposing shadows stretch across Malvain's figure as he stands defiant, yet betrayed. Lyra steps forward, the stolen crystal humming in her palm, its light reflecting off the black marble floor. By truth's right you stand judged. With deliberate force, Lyra crushes the regent's blade-etched scepter. Its shards clatter like broken promises. Hollow sentinels flicker to life, projecting damning evidence of Malvain's orchestrated genocides and manipulations behind him. Fury fractures into disbelief as the regent's facade crumbles beneath the weight of exposed atrocities. Nara moves swiftly, securing him with ceremonial chains repurposed as prison bonds, symbols of power now turned to shackles. In the charged silence that follows, the old regime's tyranny is undone not by bloodshed alone, but by the undeniable light of truth. Lyra triggers the liberation sequence, unleashing a torrent of council secrets across every network node. Financial ledgers, slave labor rosters, falsified edicts, data cascades, and unstoppable floods across holoscreens on free worlds and rebellious outposts. Propaganda terminals reboot to display unfiltered truth, dismantling lies ingrained for decades. Mining stations on Arctis 3 release their shackles. Civilian NAV buoys reset to peace channels. Rebel fleets intercept the torrent, archiving evidence onto public grids, while pilots in distant outposts pause mid-flight, absorbing buried atrocities now illuminated. The galaxy's data banks realign, smothering fear with revelation, and turning silence into a binary roar for justice. This deluge of truth reshapes the political landscape, delivering the coup's vital strike from code to consciousness. As Malvain's scepter shatters into glittering shards, Lyra's voice trembles, raw with relief and sorrow. This ends now. Nara steadies her with a firm hand, voice low but resolute. It begins anew. Together, they face the freed council chamber, once the nexus of oppression, now a crucible for reckoning. Rebels file past, binding loyalist officers with quiet dignity, their eyes reflecting hope amid scars of conflict. Tears shimmer in Lyra's silver gaze as Nara's steady hand rests on her shoulder, the crystal's violet glow suffusing the hall with ethereal light. In this moment, the revolution completes its arc, from righteous anger and sacrifice to tempered joy and steadfast resolve, signaling not only an end, but a new beginning forged in solidarity and truth. Across star networks, public terminals broadcast the archivist's coup in real time. Systems dismantle council banners as governors pledge allegiance to emergent coalitions. Public arrests of corrupt officials unfold on holoscreens, watched by billions. Trading hubs, once locked down by regent edicts, reopen under new codes of fairness and transparency. Warships withdraw from siege lines, their crews laying down arms in recognition of a shifting tide. Planets previously isolated by Malvain's decrees now welcome rebel envoys bearing peace accords and reconstruction plans. From fleet oaths to planetary charters, a galaxy-wide reckoning unfolds. Old regimes fall as federated governance rooted in accountability and justice rises. Hope radiates outward, touching even the darkest reaches of the cosmos. In the liberated Citadel's sun-dappled courtyard, Nara and Lyra stand side by side, planting the glowing data crystal atop a carved stone plinth etched with both Federation and Rebel insignia. The crystal pulses rhythmically, a living beacon illuminating the gathered delegates who encircle the monument in reverent silence. Nara's final broadcast echoes across star channels, her voice unwavering. No code shall bind our freedom again. Rebel fleets reorganize as planetary peacekeepers, distributing relief and rebuilding shattered infrastructure. Lyra stands poised beside Nara, their co-guardianship symbolized by a solemn shared salute. As banners bearing the new covenant unfurl in the gentle breeze, the crystal's light bathes them all in promise, a testament that truth is the cornerstone and compassion the guide, for a galaxy poised to write its next chapter under vigilant eyes and open hearts. The former Council archives, once a fortress of secrets and censorship, now pulse with vibrant life. Rows of rusted databanks stand open, converted into public data vaults where citizens explore histories long buried. Interactive holopods hum softly beneath vaulted ceilings, inviting readers to dive into ancient manifestos, censored journals, and first-hand accounts of rebellion and resilience. Elderly citizens pore over pixel scrolls detailing uprisings, their fingers tracing faded words that once sparked hope and fear alike. Children gather around story tree terminals, eyes wide as fractal narratives unfold. Tales of first contact, terraforming triumphs, and stolen freedoms. The murmurs of discovery mingle with the ambient glow, transforming this place from a bastion of silence into a sanctuary of shared memory. Fear has given way to curiosity, as the galaxy's fractured histories breathe anew in every open mind. In a repurposed council chamber, the Truth Councils convene under Lyra Kale's watchful gaze. Historians, technologists, and survivors debate with passion and care, cross-referencing corrupted logs, correcting omissions, and weaving living timelines that honor every voice, no matter how small. Nearby, Captain Nara Voss trains a new generation of star navigators in the ethics of code, protecting sensitive information, ensuring transparency, and balancing security with access. The recruits practice distributing secure keys and mediating user rights, their lessons blending Federation protocol with Rebel ideals. Veteran cartographers update stellar charts with newly liberated waypoints, revealing safe passages and forgotten refuges. The restoration is both scholarly and practical, a dual mission to rewrite lost histories and safeguard futures from tyranny's return. Under their stewardship, the galaxy's collective memory is repaired and preserved for generations. When called to serve on the newly formed Interstellar Council, Lyra Kale bows her head with quiet resolve and declines the seat. I guard stories, not power. Her words ripple through the chamber, earning murmurs of respect and nods of approval. She explains that the pen must remain free, unshackled by politics or ambition. Instead, she proposes establishing an autonomous archives directorate, independent and accountable solely to the public record. This body will oversee data integrity, curate oral histories, and conduct regular audits of official narratives to prevent future falsifications. By refusing political office, Lyra enshrines her role as custodian of memory, a neutral signal ensuring that no regime can weaponize history again. Her humility and clarity reinforce the vital principle that truth belongs to all, not to those who seek to wield it as a tool of control. Aboard Zephyr's song, the polished deck gleams under soft lighting as Nara unclamps the ship's emblem from her uniform, an insignia worn proudly through battles and rebellion. With a steady hand, she passes it to the newly formed Archives Directorate as a symbol of trust and partnership between military and civilian guardianship. "We'll roam as keepers of the open sky," she declares, voice ringing with newfound purpose. Her crew, transformed from warriors into peacekeepers and knowledge couriers, erupt into cheers. The freighter's engines hum a steady rhythm as Nara plots courses to forgotten worlds, leading diplomatic missions, cultural exchanges, and emergency archive rescues. Together, they forge a legacy that transcends combat, ensuring that no voice, no story, no truth will ever again vanish into silence or shadow. In the heart of the rebuilt Central Plaza, children gather around a circular datapod embedded in crystalline stone. Guided by elders' gentle hands, they inscribe new tales, poems, holographic paintings, and oral histories that upload directly into the community archive. Laughter and chatter fill the morning air as families share memories and dreams, weaving a tapestry of collective identity and resilience. Nearby, biogarden walkways wind past rune-etched saplings, living monuments glowing softly under dawnlight. Each tree is a testament to a generation's stories, its roots intertwined with encoded runes that monitor the ecosystem's health. As the plaza pulses with the chorus of new voices, the promise of an inclusive future shines clear. Here, every story matters, every life is chronicled, and every voice shapes the galaxy's unfolding narrative. Years have softened the marble halls of the restored council chamber, now alive with sunlight filtering through stained glass windows that tell tales of rebellion and renewal. A novice archivist, dressed in crisp cords that echo the colors of the new coalition, approaches Lyra with a mixture of awe and curiosity. Her youthful voice breaks the silence. Is it true the freighter captain saved our galaxy with stolen codes? The chamber still hums faintly with echoes of past debates and victories, transformed from a place of decree to a sanctuary of shared history and open discourse. The weight of legacy presses gently on the room, felt deeply even by this new generation of truth keepers. Lyra's smile spreads warmth like dawn breaking through darkness. She lays a steady hand on the novice's shoulder and responds softly. He taught me that truth isn't just data, it's action. Her voice carries the steady certainty of one who lived through shadows and emerged with conviction. Behind her, hollow runes shimmer and ripple along the walls, fragments of encrypted code transformed into constellations of hope, lighting the chamber with an ethereal glow. Her words embody the living spirit of truth, as much about courageous deeds as revealed facts. Nara steps forward with measured grace, her hand resting confidently on the data crystal planted at the chamber's heart. Her voice resonates with the authority earned from battles fought and truths defended. And stories are ours to protect. Around her, delegates nod in solemn assent, their gazes recalling Zephyr's song, not just a warship, but a vessel carrying the galaxy's memory and hope. The crystal pulses rhythmically, a heartbeat syncing with the collective will guard history from erasure. Together, they embody a shared stewardship of narrative as a sacred duty. From the crystal's core, hollow runes lift and spiral upward in luminous arcs, weaving through the air in a mesmerizing dance. Each rune is a living glyph, a symbol of a world saved, a truth unveiled, a future reclaimed. They swirl and pulse like stars forming new constellations, their light pushing back the chamber's long shadows. This choreography of glyphs embodies the power of one stolen moment. How a single code rewrote the galaxy's destiny, illuminating the path from darkness to hope. In this still, sacred moment, Lyra and Nara share a knowing glance, partners bound through trial, sacrifice, and triumph. The novice archivist releases a glowing biolume lantern into the shaft of ascending sunlight, its gentle flame mirrored by the crystal's steady pulse. As the lantern drifts skyward, a single line of code flickers into being at the chamber's apex. One truth sparks 1,000 freedoms. This echo intertwines past sacrifices with future promise, a testament that destiny, once stolen, can be reclaimed and fiercely protected by those brave enough to act.